Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, something a bit different. I've been sent this by one of the viewers and subscribers, a regular loyal viewer and subscriber, Stuart, and he said, what about having a look at this Sword Lightning that's come out? Well, of course, it's Sword are a relatively low volume manufacturer, not one of the big boys you might say, and they kind of do these multimedia kits which sometimes have bits of resin in them and a bit of this and a bit of that, in the Czech Republic of course. And this is the Lightning T.4, which is the trainer version with 2 seats, I think, so we'll see in a second. And I thought, yes, you know what, it sounds rather interesting. So it's their kit code SW72118. And I thought we'd have a look at it. It's actually also at a very cheap price. It's £16 it was. Gosh, I can see why you bought it. Because it seems £16 seems a lot of kit here. So let's have a look at the back. And we've got here, it's our old friend RAF Wattisham again. I talked about them recently in the context of the Apache helicopters, because that's where the British Army Apache helicopters are based there now. So this is the BAC Lightning T.4 of 111 Squadron in the 1960s at Wattisham. And then you've got the second option, the blue one, which is RAF Gütersloh in Germany in 1960. And then further down, going a bit further north, you've got RAF Binbrook, which is the grey Lightning. And the T.5 and the Lightning Training Flight, in fact, at Binbrook. And then also at Binbrook, you've got an operational one, which is Lightning Training Flight again, but excuse me, and this time it's in full camo. 72nd scale, of course. So I thought we'd take a look at this. It's something I wouldn't normally probably come across. And I think it's quite an interesting choice that he's made here. I think we'll have a good gander at this. See what we come up with. £16, you know, can't go too far wrong, can we? Let's have a looky. So we've got, I don't like the box. It's one of those Revell style end openers, but never mind. As I say, they are a low volume manufacturer, so you can't expect that much. And I'm saying that, and the first thing I'm noticing is it's got some resin parts, it's got photo etch instruments. There's a lot in here for £16. I wasn't wrong there. That's quite impressive. It's got some really rather nice looking decals. Get these out. Wow, and I do like a Lightning. They're an incredible machine. One of the fastest climbing jets of all time. In fact, I think it's only been surpassed in recent years by the F-15, I think I might say. Just, that's what happens when you put 2 huge engines, one on top of the other. Right, we've got a couple of parts that are off the sprue there. Now, we're not expecting, you know, Tamiya or Meng or something, or Zukimura quality here, because I think they're quite simple kits, but you know, it looks alright. Let's have a look at the, we'll look at the decals first and the ancillaries. Oh, right, okay. Well, I was just going to say these are really nice, and then I look down, it says printed by Techmod. Of course, they're in Poland, and I've often used their products. I really like them as well. Techmod are really good decals. So, have a look at this. You've got some really, really super sharp, crisp, beautiful colours. No excessive. The carrier film is very, very minimal. And then you've got the low vis markings here. And you've got the more 60s style high vis roundels here. And you've got your typical light. It always looks good with the lightning bolt through it and the Lightning, I think. And there's quite a few stencils to go out, so that'll keep us busy for a while, won't it, I think? Yeah, very nice indeed. Those are lovely, so that's a good start. They're not that cheap to produce. I mean, I think this is one of those kits where it's going to be, yeah, don't get too excited maybe about the plastic, but you get quite a good package. And when you're paying, and this goes back to my rant, doesn't it? When you're only paying £16, it's a bit different. You're prepared to work at it and do a bit of traditional modelling and a bit of filling and rescribing and all that stuff. When you've got all these other nice things, you can make it look a really nice model. But when you're paying, you know, £70, £80, you're not prepared to do those things because you expect them to do it for the money that you've paid. You're not getting good value. But here, we seem to be getting tons. An Edward set, look at this. This is great. Edward instruments with a Lightning, look at this. Yeah, ye olde worldy style instrument dials, as you'd have in the 1960s. Aren't those nice? Let's try and get a bit close up at this one because they're quite small. Aren't they good? Look at that. You've got the sort of a more earlier version, and you've got the darker version, which I think they went to in the sort of late 60s, 70s. You've got some seat belts there and all sorts. You've got the ejector seat handles. That's wonderful. I like it. I like it. Very nice. That's another tick. Let's have a look at the instructions. Sword. Here we go. Nice write-up as well, a bit of history. That's what we like. That's what we like. In 1947, the Ministry of Supply issued an experimental requirement 103 for a manned research aircraft capable of exploiting transonic and supersonic speeds. English Electric and Fairey Aviation submitted proposals, then being the former one being designated the P1. Designed initially by W.E. Teddy Petter, Fairey Aviation did a design too called the FD2. Design performance had been set at Mach 1.5 at 30,000 feet, but the Lightning P1 was sufficiently good that it was awarded by the Ministry requirement for 2 prototypes and a structural test airframe. The requirements differed from ER-103 in that the design had to incorporate military capabilities, obviously. The design was quite unorthodox. 2 engines were mounted on top of each other, the upper being slightly more forward and having swept wings. Unique looking aeroplane, isn't it? Always reminds me of Thunderbird 1, this aircraft. The first time a British aircraft was to go supersonic in level flight was 11th of August 1954. And it was one of these prototypes at 30,000 feet. But the event went unrecorded as the flight was too short, so it wasn't an official record. A day later, on the 12th of August, Roland Beaumont, he was a very famous fighter ace in the Second World War, and he went on to be chief test pilot at BAC, and he tested the TSR-2, amongst other things. A very talented guy. He had also experienced flying the F-86 Sabre, and he took the aircraft to 38,000 feet and recorded a speed of Mach 1.02. The transition was so smooth that it was even unnoticed. The aircraft continued to respond in a normal manner with no difficulty apparent. There have been other tests, but these finally led to the final design. The Lightning received its official name on the 28th of October 1958 at a ceremony that was held at Farnborough. The Lightning have built several variants, including the F1, F2, F3, then the definitive F6, which they made the most of, and also these training versions, T4 based on the 1A and the T5 based on the F3. These were 2-seater with side-by-side configuration and a larger fin, and also that's probably because of the aerodynamic effects over the back end caused by the bigger cockpit, and also full-on capabilities like the single-seater versions. They were exported to Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. They were in service with the RAF between 1960 and 1988, and there are still Lightnings flying in private hands, South Africa for example. Right, okay, we've got some Great Wall Hobby style instructions I think that come apart here. But anyway, let's just forgive them because this is not an expensive kit, remember. So we've got our air intake here. It shows the parts first of all, and then you've got all your photo etch, of course, assembling here to make up your seat belts, building your seat. Looks like the seat's in one piece, doesn't it? Is that right? Have I misunderstood something? It's just like Great Wall Hobby miniature. 1, 2, 3. It says step 3. Where's step 1? Wait a second. Hang on a minute. Slight technical difficulty here. Where's step 1? Oh, that is odd. It starts with step 3. Step 3, and there's no step 3. Step 1. Okay, this is confusing. Let me show you. A little bit confusing. Step 1. It's written very small. Oh, sorry. Okay. It's very odd the way they've done it. Step 1, step 2. It's so small you can barely read it. Now I've got it. Okay, so I was right. The seat. Okay. As you were. Quite hard to follow. Step 3, yeah, it's obviously the seat is one piece because it's it's resin, and then you're going to put all your belts on, and there's quite a lot of belt work to do actually. Then you've got your Edward instrument set to go in the cockpit, and I was wrong about it being the later type. One type over the black goes underneath, and the lighter one goes on the top. Okay, got it. Then we've got our building up the twin side-by-side style, a bit like the Jet Provost, isn't it? Of cockpit with the 2 seats. Then you've got your 2 engines going in. Then you've got your intake that you've already built up there. That's going to go in, and the compressor blade at the front of the engine, that's going to go in just behind. Then we have got the instructions are actually clear. The diagrams are really clear. It's just the way they got this step once. It just, yeah, it's not quite highlighted enough for my liking. It's a little bit odd on the eye, but anyway. So then you put in your horizontal stabilisers and elevators and your tail, vertical stabiliser. Then you get your wings coming in ready here. You've got your clear parts, 2 seats going in, cockpit going on, wings coming in. And then over here we've got the flaps underneath the wings, building up your landing gear and the legs and the landing gear covers, and of course it's quite meaty big wheels on the Lightning under the wings there. It's got a tricycle undercarriage, so you've got the nose leg and nose gear going in here, and the big pitot head going underneath. Then you've got the refueling probe here, and this I think is the missile mounting for the missiles. Now, is it blue streak or is it red top? Because I always mix them up. I think blue streak is the pointed one, if I'm not mistaken, and I think red top is the rounded one. I always get it wrong. They're going onto those 2 mounting pylons underneath, and then it shows you, very helpfully actually, it shows you the angle the wings should be at, 90 degrees at the back and -6 degrees on the wing droop. And then over here we've got lots of small antennas that are going to go on down the spine, in the centre of the aircraft. And there's 2 different versions. So you've got T Mark 4 and T Mark 5 have got slightly different antenna arrays. And then you've got your stencil data, so that's pretty much done. Yeah, it seems fairly straightforward, really. It's just a bit fiddly in terms of the way it was presented, perhaps. But anyway, it was clear enough. Yeah, lots of stencils, it has to be said. And then we've got our colour call-outs. So you've got the Binbrook grey one, or you've got the nice bare metal style with the blue tail, which is 92 Squadron. And then we've got the training flight at Binbrook with the full camo and the lion on the tail, or you've got 111 Squadron with the black spine and black tail with the gold cross on it. Very nice, okay. Yeah, I was just a bit thrown there by it, but yeah, once you get used to the way they present it, it's just a bit different to other people, really. So let's have a look at the parts then. So we've got, first of all, some resin, I mean. Right. This is before I've been drinking, it's only lunchtime. Resin. So, oh, aren't those nice? Oh, these are good. Look at those. Let's zoom you in. So these are the jet nozzles at the back. Something that always tends to be a bit of a weak point on a lot of kits of the Lightning, in fairness. Well, I don't think you'll have that problem here. Look at those. Sharp, proper. Yeah, it looks very mean and meaningful, that, doesn't it, to be honest? Yes. And then we've got our 2 ejector seats. They're both the same, identical. It's a different colour though, for some reason. Seems like the resins come out differently. There we go, thank you. Focused in the end. So it's a great lens, this camera, but it is a bit slow focusing sometimes when it's on the zoom. So yeah, so those are pretty nice. Nice ejector seats, aren't they? Good detail on them. Yeah, like that. Then we have, I'll put those, sorry, I'll zoom you out. Then we've got some clear parts. That's quite a short looking canopy, the Lightning, when it's a two-seater. It's sort of very wide, but it's not very long, is it? Is it physically shorter? Probably isn't. It probably just gives the impression, because it's wide and fat, you almost expect it to be longer to compensate. Like you do get that on some aircraft, don't you, when they go to two-seater versions. This one, it doesn't. Okay, well, these look fairly decent, I've got to say. You know, given the price point and scale and everything else, it's not bad. You know, it's not Meng or Tamiya, so you're not expecting that because you're not paying £80–90 on that. Or even ICM quality, because that's, you know, that would be more expensive than this. Yeah, there's a bit of distortion. You know, it's quite a thick canopy, relatively speaking. It's never going to be the best, I suppose, at this sort of price point, but it's very acceptable. That very acceptable. It's decent, and it's not got any obvious, really bad flaws or scratches or anything like that. It's nice. So that's the canopy. I do like a Lightning though. I think that it's one of those kits that you put a bit of effort into it, this will come out a real corker, I think. Very nice. And it's so little money though, £16. It's pocket money literally, isn't it, today, that? So let's have a look at the main plastic. This is probably going to be the sort of slightly the Achilles heel, I think. But it's not bad actually. It's probably better in terms of detail than Matchbox was, slightly. Not much in it, to be honest, but yeah, it is slightly better, I think, than that. It's of its time, shall we say, from an earlier generation, in terms of. But it's got some fairly good detail. Can you see those access panels? That's nice. Done that pretty well, to be honest. It's growing on me. It's growing on me. On the other side. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, and it's quite in scale as well. The actual panel lines and the rivets and things looks about right for its scale. Here's that bigger tail that they spoke of. Well, it actually offers you both tails, doesn't it? So you've got the later type tail and the typical, ever so slightly larger square tail, or the rounded tail, round top. A little bit flashy here and there, but again, you know, you kind of expect that in kits at this price, I suppose. So a little bit of clean-up required, but nothing too drastic. I've seen worse from Airfix and Frog and other people. Let's have a look at this one. We've got a couple of. This is it's detached. This is just part of the cockpit floor. And then we've got over here also detached is the air intake. It's the front of the engine, where the intake is going to go inside the intake, isn't it? It's the flow modifier for the engine, you might call it. And then finally we have got over here sprue with the wings on. And again, it's a little bit softly moulded, you could say. I think that the only danger with this, it's not bad, it's just that you've got to be careful with things like primer. I won't go heavy with the primer, because you could make those panel lines just vanish very quickly, especially on the top. Those are particularly soft there on the top of the wing. But let's turn that back. There we go. You've got your that's the sort of nose of the intake, and your compressor blades, your wheels separate, and then you've got your flaps. Because on the Lightning, the ailerons are right on the tip of the wings, aren't they? I mean, it's nice, really. It's not, you know, it's not Tamiya, as I say. There's your refueling probe where my finger is. Look. You know, it's never going to be sort of Tamiya quality. It's not a new tool, but it's more than adequate, really, for £16. You've got resin, you've got photo etch, you've got Tech Mod decals. I mean, they're worth £16 on their own, literally. I bet if you bought them separately, it cost you more than £16. And that's it. That's the summary, isn't it? Really, it is more than the sum of its parts. It's such good value that there's nothing not to like about it, really. I mean, in terms of score out of 10, it's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? This, because the quality of the parts it's older and it's old too. So I think I'm probably going to give it sort of, bearing in mind its price, I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10, which is kind of cruel in a way because it's so cheap. I mean, you could argue that for the money it's 9.5, but obviously it is a bit older, and you know you've got to sort of have a balance about it. But as a package, it's really quite good. It's heading towards a 9, isn't it? Really, perhaps 8.75. How's that? 8.75 out of 10 from me. I think that's fair because it's just a value package. If somebody wants to build a kit, a weekend build, doesn't want to spend a lot of money, you can end up with some cracking looking cockpit interior there. You know, you've got that lovely jet pipes. It'll look brilliant. Anyway, hope you thought it was interesting. Again, I'm not the first person to review this, but I've deliberately avoided reviewing it, watching other reviews, I should say, for that very reason. So I don't know what other people have said about it. I'll have to go and have a look now, to be honest. But anyway, I hope you found it interesting. Thought I was there or thereabouts in my verdict. And I hope that you will not forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget if you are subscribed to ding the notification bell. And I hope to see you again in the very distant, not too distant future, I should say, the near future. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hope you stay well, stay safe, and until next time, thanks a lot, and bye for now.